and this one should be a barn burner. It is a very deep field here in the class called F production. And Bart, we've seen H production, we've seen E production. Now we're sort of middle of the road.
Oh, but no means middle of the road. These guys have great battles. Production-based cars, interiors, dashboards, etc. Removed convertibles, may remove the windshields. Slick tires. So actually they are not slick, but they're actually slicks. So the handling and stuff is going to be phenomenal.
They are indeed. Last year's champion, Mark Carpenter in the Acura Integra, however, not here this weekend. So we anticipate, obviously, a new champion. Ken Kennard, who had a marvelous race at the sprints here earlier, put his car, he's run a 240Z for years, and he finally made the change. He said, if I'm going to get serious about winning this, I guess I got to get a Miata, and he got it, put it on pole, won the sprints over no less a talent than Steve Sargis, so that's going to be interesting.
It's not an easy thing to pull off either. Steve Sargis has been a name in this class for years.
Absolutely, it is. He is the standard bearer. He set the bar. And earlier this weekend, on the pole here, by the way, earlier this weekend, he won another gold medal already in H production, his 5th. The numbers for Sargis, you add the tallies up, 14 medals total. This is his 10th pole at the Runoffs. He's had 8 fast laps. Just an amazing achievement what Steve Sargis has been able to do. And whenever he starts up front, we're so used to seeing him one in a red car. Now in this class he runs that beautiful blue Triumph you see there just to the left of the gentleman holding up the sign. But he's got some serious talent around him. Rick Harris, the gold medalist here in 2000, or not here at the Runoffs in 2008, but at Topeka after qualifying second. And then Kevin Ruck. And by the way, Kevin Ruck is Super Sweep eligible, and the Super Sweep here is a very difficult and prestigious thing to win. There are 4 different components to it. We've talked about it before. You have to win your divisional championship, which he did in the Great Lakes division with 4 wins and 7 podiums. And he ended up finishing second at the sprints in that season as well. So he didn't win that race, but there are 8 other key events, 1 in each region. The sprints is the one incentive, and he did win one of those key events in another region, in his region. He also, there's the national tabulation, if you will, that sort of determines a national point champ in the various classes. You have to win that. He did that. The only leg he hasn't yet is winning here at the Runoffs, and if he could pull that one off, and he did qualify in the 3rd spot, he would be one of the very rare Super Sweep winners here that we have had this year.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. I think we've only had 1 successful.
I think we've had 2, yeah. We had one other one sneak in here. It wasn't a race we were doing, so very, very tough to do. Not that many people were eligible for it. I mean, I'm in my looker, I think there was about 10 drivers were eligible, but obviously very, very tough to make it happen. The field heading out on their pace and parade lap. Let's quickly get you through the starting order here. As I said, Steve Sargis, this is an amazing record. His 10th pole at the Runoffs out of Frankfort, Illinois. Second only incentive with 3 wins in his SBS batteries at beautiful Triumph Spitfire 1500. Rick Harris alongside out of Derby, Kansas. It is JPM Redline Oil and Hawk Mazda Miata. Then starting third, the 73 of Kevin Ruck, who is second at the sprints, but is, as we said, Super Sweep eligible in his Acura Integra. Starting fourth, Eric Prill, who is the very significant player here in SCCA in terms of the media and communications department, but he also is a very talented racer. Won the Southwestern division that he runs in this year, 6 wins and 7 starts. He sat on the pole at Topeka in its last year in the Runoffs in 2008, but then had a bit of a DNF. Took the bronze last year, though, and he, too, has switched now to a Mazda Miata after driving a Lotus for many years. And it's prepped, by the way, by Jesse Prather Motorsports, and Eric always carries the Fight MS on his car. Then, in the 5th spot, number 51 is Ken Kennard out of East Troy, Wisconsin, who is the gentleman who won the sprints from pole after making his switch over to the Mazda Miata and won the division as well, the Northwest Cable Mazda Miata. Then the 83 of Bob Bramlett, Junction City, Kansas, will start outside of that 3rd row. The Spark Wraps and Jesse Prather Motorsport Prep Mazda Miata, 6th in the Midwestern division. Starting 7th, the 36 of Brian Lynn out of Hermosa Beach, California. He, too, now has made the switch from his prod car that he's run over the years to the Mazda Miata, again prepped by Jesse Prather, the Redline Oil Carbotech entry. Starting 8th, the number 47 of Bill Wessel out of Madison, Wisconsin. This is a good story. 3rd at the sprints this year, and he continues to run his beautiful Goodyear Nissan Roadster, the SPL 311. Just a great-looking car, very rare, and he is insistent on continuing to make that one run. So let's take you through the top 10. 52, Mason Workman out of Reynoldsburg, Ohio. He will start 9th, the Mazda Speed Mazda Miata, and starting 10th, the 54 of Chuck Mathis out of St. Jacob, Illinois. runner in the Midwestern Division, the 247parts.com, AMT Engines, VW Scirocco. With that, John Bizignano standing by in pit lanes, got some updates for us, but first of all, we feel we must tell John, just a general, thank you for all you've done.
I know, it's very appreciated, to tell you the truth. Well, I'm glad everyone is warm in that booth up there. It's still freezing down here. Anyway, if you look at the grid, you know, the guy on pole position, he's almost 2.5 seconds faster than everyone else. So if he has no mechanical problems, there's going to be a heck of a race for second. We have a favorite of our own. Eric Prill, of course, qualified fourth, number 7. He's in another Mazda Miata. He's the Vice President of SCCA Communications. He's the gentleman who hires us. Thank you very much. And he also does a lot for the club all year long. Last year, he had, for sure, one of the best races of all the runoffs in 09. And that was in his old Morgan, which he knew very well. Talking to him before the race, he says he left some time on the track. So look for Eric coming through, hopefully, to a strong second place, or maybe even the lead, with that time that he's going to find after the race gets going a little bit. Good luck to Eric Prill. Okay, guys.
Absolutely, he's a great guy, and not only involved in the management, if you will, of SCCA, but an avid participant at the club level in his racing program, and that's absolutely great to see. He's teamed up with a guy we're going to talk about in just a minute, in a sense, and that's a great story as well. Starting 11th to 28 is David Strittmatter in his Hoosier Tire Lancia Scorpion. You don't see a lot of those racing. Starting 12th, 42, Gerald Lamb out of Oswego, Illinois. Been watching Gerald race for many years. His Team Clean Fab and Power Coating MGB. 13th is the number 94 of Donald Crafson, the Aryan Capital Partners Elva Courier, one of the prettiest cars you're ever going to see. Scheduled to start 14th, the number 93 of Harold Fleischer. Just a tremendous talent, has had a great success in this category over the years in his beautiful Austin Healey Sprite, but he had a huge wreck in qualifying in the sprint, in the kink, and was not able to make the start. Starting 15th, number 37, Sam Henry, the Springfield Dyno Safe Racer Mazda Miata. 16th to 9 of Rick Haynes, in the Midwest Motorsport MG Midget. Here's the guy we wanted to make sure we got in. Starting 17th, sort of a teammate to Eric Prill, Mark Weber. He's the official photographer for SCCA. He and Prill are good friends. And Mark, the number 25, driving St. Louis, Missouri, he is running Eric's old, and I say that the car he ran previously, Lotus Super 7, the Red Line Sign Experts entry. And he will be breaking his own record once again with his 47th class start at the Runoffs, and runs multiple classes over the years, and he breaks his record every time he takes a start. Joining him on that 9th row in the 18th spot, the number 3 of Serge Lentz out of Circleville, New York, in the Jesse Prather Prep Mazda Miata. We'll finish the grid in a moment. Meanwhile, we are looking forward to the start of this championship battle for F Production. Here at Road America, we are green. The battle for the gold is underway. Sargis easing that little Triumph into the lead, but Rick Harris, alongside in that black and orange machine. There is a look at Prill, that bright red Mazda Miata. He's looking to the inside, and Kevin Rock pops to the outside, and Prill, a nice start. Looks like he'll get into that 3rd spot. A couple of guys going way wide, but everybody gathering it up and making it through at this point. But it is Sargis leading, Kevin Ruck second, and Prill now on the inside. But it looks to me like the 8 of Rick Harris is going to be able to sweep the outside and get that done. And the car that ran way wide was the number 9 of Rick Haynes, that MG Midget. But again, that new runoff that they paved over in turn 1, saving the day.
Yeah, and sometimes you just don't get enough heat in those tires and brakes, and just push out a little wide. Could be too. You're trying for it. This is the championships, and carry a smidge too much speed, but everyone was able to continue on.
Yeah, if you can make a little something up on the start, that certainly makes the day easier instead of having to race for it. Oh, a little contact there in that battle for 6th. Looks like everybody survived it, but there was even a little puff of smoke, and that's when you worry about tires getting cut and valve stems getting ripped off the car. But there is a look at Prill sitting in that 4th spot, and the rest of the field streaming out of turn 6, making their way down into 8 through that very tricky turn 7. And when you hear Dorsey Schrader make a comment like that's of all the years I've raced at this track, that's the corner that gave me the most headaches. I never felt I got it right. And that tells you something about how tricky that turn 7 is. But everything's sorting out just a little bit right now. Of course, back at the pack, the action is pretty intense.
And what a great class. I just did a quick calculation through here. I think there's 13 different manufacturers in there. And, I mean, you look at the top 5, there's different cars all the way through.
They blended it very nicely. You've got the newer cars blended in with the older cars, to be sure. And you Is one of these older cars competitive? Well, just take a look at Steve Sargis. You know, that Triumph Spitfire's got a lot of years on it, but it's cared for with tremendous love and passion. And look at Eric Prill. He's got that, but he also has the outside line. And once again, Rick Harris, boy, did he get through that corner, even though he was tight on that approach to it. He got out and exited just about perfectly to not allow Eric to be able to cut back down and underneath. So these two guys working each other over here. But Ruck sits second right now. And then, of course, you've got Sargis out front. There comes Harris onto the front straight in that Jesse Prather Motorsports prep to Mazda Miata with Prill. They're not teammates, but the same prep shop, Jesse Prather Motorsports, doing both those cars. Up the hill they come. That is the battle for third. The final gold or the final medal, it would be bronze.
And both cars look like they have an extremely good setup on it. Wow, just watching, it seems like they can place it anywhere they want, carrying good speed through 14, and we'll see how they get through one.
And Lynn, the 36, sits right now in that fifth spot, and there's a big move right there. Bramlage trying to get up and around the 51 of Kennard, and he gets down underneath into turn one and makes it stick, but he ran wide. Kennard thought about a counter move, couldn't quite do it, and not able to get it done at this point, and tucks back in. And by the way, that the 36 of Lynn, Brian Lynn, even though he's running a Miata now instead of, I believe he ran a midget, that color scheme very, very similar. The deep blue with the pink in certain spots and the light blue on the numbers. So it's very recognizable graphics package that Brian Lynn has run for many, many years, just changing the model at this stage. There he is, down into that corner. And a nice move there by 47 Wessel, who actually got by two cars making that pass. So well done. As Wessel, as I said, qualified pretty well up in the 8th spot, had dropped the spot at the start, but is now starting to make his way back up through the pack of that old Datsun Roadster.
Oh, it's fun to watch them go through the corners, too. These things are really set up. They're race cars. I mean, you're not getting all that body lean and roll and stuff. They really, really handle well. It looks like a lot of fun.
Well, they do start. I mean, obviously, they start as a production car, but they're allowed a fairly sizable amount of modifications. There's just certain layouts that the dash has to retain its layout, but there was one guy I knew who ran a Bug-Eye Sprite who was really tall, and his knees kept hitting the dash, so he took a great big piece of tire rubber and cut it in the shape of the dash, mounted the gauges in there, so when his knees hit it, it would flex, but it retained the original layout. That was fine.
That is great.
Creative engineering as we watch the 83 of Bob Bramlage hustling down through the kink, and the car he's racing, I got to be honest, in terms of just pure aesthetic value, I don't think there's a prettier car in the racetrack than the number 34 of Don Kravsen and that Elva Courier. They had just great lines to that car. Ooh, real close down in there, side by side. And Wessel, you know, he had the trust that the guy that he was racing with right there was going to give him that room. I think that was Ken Kennard, and that Kennard wasn't going to drift over into him. And again, that goes down to the fact these guys paddock together, they're buddies, they respect each other, they'll race each other incredibly hard, and if you make a mistake, they're going to berate you incredibly hard afterward in the paddock and have fun with you, but they will respect your space on the track. And one thing that, as you see, Wessel has always had in that car, he has always had that engine working real well, and you can see him just pull away a little bit from Lynn, and now Kennard comes up the inside of Lynn as the battle for that 6th spot continues behind Wessel, who now has 5th.
Kennard's just a very clean, good driver, very solid guy, and always has a smile on his face in the paddock, says hi, and just one of those guys you really pull for.
You know, watching him with that 240Z over the years, he would drive that thing to the nth. I mean, it was Dyson and on the edge all the time, just raced it as hard as it could. It just did not have what it took here to run at the very front. And he wanted to have a shot at it and be able to play a little bit further up in the pack. And at the runoffs, I mean, he was a perennial winner in his division, to be sure. But again, we talk about the best of the best come in, and it's resources as well as talent and all that. Look at this battle that's shaping up for the silver. That is Ruck, with right behind him now Rick Harris. They'd lost touch a little bit. Harris had to Ruck, but now he's gathering him back up. There is Sargis, and again, Mr. Liquid Speed, as I call him, just easing away.
Yeah, just so easy on the equipment, the gearbox, just really, really fluid. It's fun to watch him drive. These guys are definitely using all of the track. I think this might be actually 4.2 miles for some of these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. That was Ruck. That is a front drive car. The drive configuration remains the same, not like GT where you can even change that in this case. So he's running a front drive car up against a lot of these rear drive cars, but that is one extremely well sorted Acura Integra, and he really gives it a go. But obviously in certain spots that back end is just following the front around, and sometimes it hangs out a little bit.
Boy, and you definitely don't want it hanging out in the kink, because that'll jump up and bite you.
Sarge just leads it, but now look at this, and look who's joining this battle once again now, as Eric Prill, who had dropped off after he was duking it out for a little bit. He has closed right back up within just a car length or two now of Rick Harris behind Ruck. So basically right now, with the exception of Ruck getting around Harris, they're running as they qualified the top 4 at this stage. Then Kennard sits right there as well, but Wessel and Lynn have been able to get by him at this stage of the going as we are working lap 3 of 13. Lots of racing yet to go, and that means things can happen. Let's see now, is Harris going to be able to do something? He is tight in the draft right now of Kevin Ruck, and Ruck's going to protect a little bit, so Harris moves to the outside, and part of that is if he can get Ruck to stay protective on the inside, might scrub some speed, but Harris just carried everything he had there to get through the corner. And, of course, every time they get up side by side like that, the grin on Prill's face is going to be getting a little wider. And here we go.
Oh, boy.
Nice move right there. That is that Elva Courier, the 34th lap. And that was Lynn, I think, ran way wide. Yep, Lynn just getting in a bit too hot, Barty.
Well, yeah, just went wide of the apex. And, when you cheat yourself out of radius, you definitely run out of track. I always say the definition of eternity is when you miss the apex by a foot, eternity is from there to track out, because you know something bad's going to happen.
And here it often happens at speed. Unfortunately, the number 9, Rick Haynes, in that beautiful blue MG Midget from Midwest Motorsports, trundling down pit lane. A little bit of a problem there. But that's one of the cool things about this track is it's fast. It is a very, very quick track. And is he going to head? No, he's calling it a day. Oh, that's too bad. So after all that time and effort, Rick Haynes out of Hebron, Ohio, is going to call it a day here. But the racing on the track continues to hot up. Sargis once again easing away. Last time by 5-second margin for Steve on his way to what would be a 6th gold medal, second of the event. I'm obviously a lot of racing yet to go. We don't know that's a lock by any stretch. But this battle for silver is really, really good.
Oh, and it's really a neat part or time of the race right now. About 3rd, 4th lap, your tires really come up to temperature and pressure. You start your tires down. If you wanted ending pressure at 21 pounds, you probably start them down as low as 14 pounds. So it takes a couple laps for that to build up the heat and get the car really handling. So right now the cars are back into qualifying handling mode, and we're really going to see whose setup comes through and shines through.
So a cool day like this, you could have to wait this long to really find out what you've got in terms of a race car today.
And sometimes you miss your starting pressures, and you'll have a car that's really good for a while, and then all of a sudden it'll start inflating too far, and you'll be slipping and sliding everywhere. So it's really a science.
And look at that move. You can see the gap right there really between Ruck and Prill not changing, but Harris got through turn 14 extremely well. Going back in the order just a little bit there just for a shot to show you some of the action back of the carousel. Meanwhile, here we go, and Harris once again gets that run, but Ruck not his first rodeo, and he just moves right to the middle of the track. But now he swings out a little bit. Maybe Harris was thinking, let me see if I can make the feint on him. Now Harris deep on the brakes, and the question is, can he keep it controlled?
Wow.
Oh, Ruck gave it a go. Comes up along the inside. They are side by side once again now. Down into 3, and they touch. Oh, and Harris somehow held onto it. He got bumped and loosened him up, and then that second bump straightened him up. If Ruck wouldn't have still been alongside, I think Harris would have spun that. So that was that second hit was a good one. That's not often you get to say that here.
And I fear there might be a third hit coming.
Yeah, maybe not immediately.
Yeah, if he gets back up there, you never know.
And Prill trying to figure out a way to get by here and can't quite do it. And part of the problem is okay, so we made the change. We're gonna we moved into the Miata camp, which is arguably one of the cars to have in this class, and we're going to go after it here. But he's racing a guy that has a car, and it's a Miata prepped by the exact same company, so those cars are going to be pretty close. So suddenly you're sitting there going, well, I can run with him, but I don't have anything really to get by him at this point, and that makes it even more challenging. Barty, let's go back and take a look at that moment here, right down into this turn, and of course that set up here, but it all started right here.
Oh, great move. Just getting in there deep, not going off the track. Excellent job there. Then coming down into 3, he's got the inside line and probably should have given a little bit of room there. It's hand-to-hand combat, but you definitely need to respect your competitors also.
Yeah, he was a little aggressive in trying to dissuade him from working the outside line there. So, and you know what that can sometimes do is now Harris, it just lights your fuse a little bit. You know, you just get a little bit more fired up, and if you get close, you get a little bit more aggressive, and it can get interesting.
And it's difficult to get yourself back into a rhythm. It looks like he's done a great job of it, but you already have adrenaline going, and then you get more adrenaline coming, and you bounce off your own rev limiter.
Meanwhile, Sargis, just nice and serene up at the front, that beautiful Triumph Spitfire 1500 that he preps so well. It drives it incredibly well, and he never takes too much out of the car, and he's able to run the same laps. When he won his H Production Championship yesterday, he made the comment afterwards, they said, you know, this huge lead, why didn't you back up? And he said, I make mistakes when I slow down. I liked the rhythm I was in. He goes, the car could handle it. I just kept driving it. The reason the car can handle it is that he has an unbelievable gift of finding what the edge is on the car without taking anything, you know, pushing it to where he hurts the tires or damages the brakes or whatever, finds that edge, and then can drive that edge all the time. It's just amazing.
Yeah, boy, if you could buy that talent, people would be lining up. It's just it's a natural gift, and he certainly does it too. A great job. It's fun to watch it.
And with all the experience he's had over the years, he doesn't fluster easily either. You know, when he does get in a battle, he'll just sit back and sort of assess the situation and go, where am I strong? Where can I make this work? And then if he can, he'll pounce, and if he can't, he'll take silver. I mean, he's very much got his head about him all the time.
Well, he's been driving the cars long enough that it's just an extension. Oh, great move going down into 5.
Yeah, Harris that time making the pass and really did a nice job drafting. Now Ruck's going to try and come up the inside, and wow, that was interesting because Harris just let him go, maybe thinking Ruck might run wide on the exit, but Ruck has that one figured out, so that was interesting. I would have thought Harris may have defended a little bit more, but maybe he was a bit leery of doing that because of the way Ruck roughed him up just a little bit. He runs wide, and Prill says, that might just be what I was looking for, and Eric down to the inside, and now Eric's got to exit right, and you got 2 options there. One, just carry as much speed as you can and hope you can beat the guy out of the corner, or exit right where he wants to go, and Eric did the right thing there. He didn't bite on that and just carried the speed, knowing that if I shorten up the exit a little bit, I'm going to lose momentum, and that's going to let Ruck get even farther away.
Absolutely the right call there. Watching him go up into 6, I was surprised the horsepower difference.
Yeah.
It seemed like he really, really pulled him. It might have been, you know, just a second of a misshift or something, because these cars look to be pretty evenly matched all the way around the track.
Down into Canada corner. Eric Prill now starting to close up a little bit on Ruck. He's using up a lot more track right now than Ruck is, but it's not in excess. He's not over on the edges, but he's using every bit of pavement, and that means he's carrying every bit of speed, opening up those radiuses even a bit more. Radii, whatever. And but he's doing it well, is what I'm saying.
That's what I understood you to be saying. And maybe he's taking it easier on the tires too.
Yep.
Increasing the radius of the corner. Maybe at the end of the race he's going to have a little bit more grip.
Right now, Sargis has already by, what's the margin? The margin now 8 seconds. And Sargis, his best lap was a 2:31.59. A 2:31.59, his last lap a 2:33.2. He's backpedaling. And that now has Ruck, Prill are both running the low 2:33s as well. So when Sargis ran that last lap, Ruck and Prill able to match it, but of course they're quite a ways behind Sargis already at this stage, and that's another thing Sargis does incredibly well, is he'll build that margin and then drive it to near perfection. Here's a look at that 51 of Ken Kennard, who has moved over into the Miata camp this year, currently sits in the 6th spot behind that great battle up front of Sargis alone, then Ruck, Prill, and Harris in that battle, and then Wessel, and that old Datsun Roadster sitting in the top 5 right now. And look at this, Prill thinking the outside, Ruck going protective. Now let's see if Prill can do the over-under to get up the hill. No, whoa, but Harris had the opportunity. It got a little sideways on it, but he still had the exit speed and is able to get by, and he will now take up the attack on Ruck once again.
And boy, Ruck just has a lot of horsepower. I mean, you are going uphill into 6, so it definitely shows there, but on these long straightaways, they seem very evenly matched.
Yeah, maybe it's the torquiness. You know, you get down and he gets up that hill in a hurry, but when you get in the high-speed stuff, you get way up there in the rev band that the Miatas are okay, and also they handle incredibly well through these long corners and that high-speed kink.
Oh, and you're absolutely right. I mean, in racing, everyone talks horsepower, but if you talk to the engine builders, they're going to tell you it's actually the torque that wins the race.
Once again, out of the carousel, and here we go into the kink. Ruck with about a 4-car length margin. Then Harrison Prill through the kink. Was that a pretty shot back there with the trees changing, the blue skies? And it's actually very pleasant out here right now, folks. When you get out in a spot where the sun's coming down, the workers are certainly enjoying that. And man, do they make up ground on him in the braking zones, though. And so there's, you know, a sign of that difference we've been talking about. You've got cars that great power and torque, but maybe not quite as good on the brakes. I wanted to mention Ken Alderson driving one of the other rare cars you see racing, an Opel GT, just coming down the pits and having a problem as well. So unfortunate there. By the way,
I would assume it's Lucas.
Yeah.
If I'm a betting man.
If you're a betting man. By the way, the 69 also out here running today is Dieter Greisinger. Been watching him race for a long time on the Mako Mold Corporation Triumph Spitfire. And Prill again taking a look at Harris. Looks like he's going to get that done. And, boy, these two swapping it out behind Ruck. And it gives you an idea of just how close they are at this stage. And now Harris going to sweep the outside once again. And Prill going to tuck right back in behind him. This is a good cat and mouse battle. Now, Prill thought about it. Nope, not going to work it right there. Going back in the pack just a little bit. Here's the number 14.
Just look at the difference in the cars. It's
fabulous.
So neat to see.
That's Chris Patrick in the Keystone Customs Triumph Spitfire 1500. And he's right in a pitched battle right now with that Lotus Super 7.
And I've had an opportunity to talk to a couple of the Lotus Super 7 drivers and talk about a love affair with their cars. They absolutely said they are just the most fun to drive.
They are something. I mean, lightweight, you know, not as much power as some of these cars, but they corner so well, they really get it going. And this battle continues here. To continue on, number 10 is David Mead, the pitboxes.com Specialty Vehicles Miata. Talked about Chris Patrick, the 17 of Alderson. 88, Paul Jensen. He's the Mazda Speed Mazda Miata. 62, James Smith in the Honda Civic Del Sol. 74, Mike Natt out of Kiel, Wisconsin. Loving it here at the home track in the MG Midget. And the 31 of Mike Engelke, Chilton, Wisconsin, in his Valley Graphics Honda CRX SI. So that's the entire field. Want to make sure everybody gets recognized here. We'll go back to this battle, but the problem is with Harrison Prill now working back and forth, making all those passes, it has allowed Kevin Ruck to maybe break him just a little bit here.
Yeah, he seems to be just inching away, but the battle just rages on behind. It's so tough to just stay in line and try to run him back down.
I think Sargis might be in trouble if that is him. His last lap was 2 seconds off of what Ruck turned, and if that is Sargis, this is a huge development. It is! Steve Sargis suddenly, that dominant number 18, at a crawl down through Canada Corner, and Sargis, he gave the indication that he was off by a couple of seconds last lap, but whatever it is now has gone far more chronic at this point, and he's in trouble.
Well, he did the smart thing, pulled offline, made sure he got out of their racing way, and the racing gods again, you never know when they're going to strike.
They can be fickle. And there's 51 Kennard has pulled off as well on the backside of the track. Eric Prill now just came by the front straight inside of Harris and has taken over the second spot. And suddenly this battle we were watching for the silver medal is the one for the gold. These two going for the silver, but they need to work together now and see if they can't try and run down the very quick Kevin Ruck in that number 73. And Ruck, of course, as Sargis, indeed, slowly trundling down pit lane. He is in trouble. So Sargis down in the pits. And Kevin Ruck leading right now. Remember at the top of the show I said he is super sweep eligible. And now, to get that though, he's won 3 of the 4 elements. The 4th is arguably the most difficult, and that is to win the runoffs. And he's got himself in position to do it right now. And there is a tough sight for Steve Sargis. But he did already, he's got a medal, and it's a gold at that in H production. But he's not going to be able to win them both here, and that would have been very nice indeed. And Prill able to get around Harris, and Harris was way off of the apex down there in turn 5. And so Prill now has a little bit of breathing room. Ruck has a bit of breathing room up front. So now that things have settled for just a second, we're going to take this opportunity and step away, take care of a little bit of business, but we won't be gone long. And I have the feeling that this medal battle here is by far from over. So we're going to step away, but we'll be right back with more from Road America and the battle for the gold in F production.
The 2010 SCCA National Championship Runoffs, presented by Subway, is brought to you by Mazda, Black Magic Car Care Products, and Gumout.
Forget the rock. Let's roll. Follow your inner driver to the all-new 2011 Mazda 2. It's Zoom Zoom. Concentrated.
Kid, where you been?
Just got back from an SCCA event.
Really?
Yeah, SCCA has more than 2,000 events every year.
Serious?
Go to SCCA.com and find people in your area that drive fast and get their hands dirty. And you don't have to be a supercar to compete.
So I go to SCCA.com, sign up, and I can start competing?
It's that easy.
Welcome back to Road America and our SpeedcastTV.com live coverage here on the web of this 47th running of SCCA's National Championship Runoffs presented by Subway. And it looks to me like Eric Prill may have closed up just a little bit on Mr. Ruck. We'll take a look at the lap times. He did. Ruck turning a 34.4, Prill a 33.6. So he took 0.8 away from Ruck at this point. And Prill running a good 0.8 of a second, 0.9 of a second faster than Harris right now. So Eric Prill maybe doing a nice job. Maybe he has his car set up for it to come in a little bit later, whatever it is. But it looks like that car and the track are starting to really come together.
It really, yeah, I think hopefully they're set up for that because he's really chasing him down. And if it keeps up with this many laps left, we're going to have a heck of a battle for the gold.
Working lap 10 of 13, so almost 4 full laps yet to run here. So lots of time on this long 4-mile track. There it is, first, second, and third, gold, silver, bronze at this stage, up into that tricky turn 6. Nice look there at the number 8, Rick Harris, all the way from Derby, Kansas. Again, won the championship, the gold medal in 2008 from a second-place qualifying performance, and qualified second this year.
When Harris going through 6, it looks like he got a little bit wide, and his tires might be getting overheated. Might be one of those deals where missed his ending pressure, might start getting a little bit high.
Well, we'll see what happens. As yeah, he definitely is not able to quite run the pace of Prill right now. And Eric Prill giving it everything as he's trying to run down Kevin Ruck out of the carousel into the kink. Love that sound because when you're driving into that kink, you don't see the exit. It's a corner. It's called the kink. It's a corner. And the fact that these guys, you listen to that and there is absolutely no change in the engine note other than loading on the car, not braking, not lifting. That says something about the... Oh, and Eric Prill dropped the tires as it just got a little bit too far over that curb exiting turn 12. That left rear tire dropped into the dirt, and it snapped around on those hot slicks. He just could not catch it, and he shot back across the track and into the tire barriers. And Eric Prill closing, it looked like, running certainly quicker than our leader at this point, but obviously he was pushing it for everything it was worth, Bart.
Well, and it's just such a fraction of a drop, but that's all it takes, you know, just pushing that hard to get there. He was obviously trying hard.
Well, when you get up and over those gator teeth, they're graduated. It's not bad, and then the further out you get, the rougher it gets, and that can just get the car hopping like mad and get you to lose it as well. And I think we've got the replay ready. Let's go back and take another look at it, Bart.
Good line in. Looks like he got down to the apex, but probably squeezed down the power a little bit early, trying to chase him down. Gets out, as you said, the rumble strips are graduated, and just gets that rear end bouncing, slides it out, and just can't catch it in time. Boy, what a shame for such a great run.
That truly was, and that's why they got tires on the insides of the exits of corners, folks, and that was a pretty good hit. He got into that pretty solidly. Gives you an idea of how sturdy those Mazdas are and how well simplistic in design, but how great in effect those tire barriers are. You just stack some tires in there, and it's like, well, is it pretty? No, but it is very, very effective in getting rid of speed when you're going to impact something like that. So Eric Prill right now very happy that they are there. And let's see,
some of those tires are so old, I think I saw wood spokes on them. It's a great history of it.
Absolutely, absolutely. 63, that's Coleman, and having a good battle there. And a little bit further back in the pack, that is Engelke. That's Weber right in the mix of there. So, boy, what a drive by Weber. He having a good run here up into, at this stage, 13th. But Engelke running 12th after having qualified 28th.
Oh, excellent drive. Usually he's further up the field, too. So I was surprised he must have had some kind of issue in qualifying. But certainly a talented driver and having a great race.
Well, these prod cars can be a bit finicky, as Steve Sargis will tell you. They can run great, but little things will happen, and it can create some issues. And there's the 42 in front, heading up the hill of Gerald Lamb. I talked about that. I watched and had the pleasure of announcing Gerald race for many, many years. It's a lot of fun indeed. And there's the guy with the Lance I was pointing out. He's just picked. I don't know exactly what that is, but
at first view, I thought it was a tow strap between the two cars.
I mean, that's what it looks like at a certain point. There's just some piece of debris. Because it may be a piece of trim from his car, or maybe it's something that came off another car that he picked up somehow. Doesn't seem to be affecting his pace too much. That's the number 10 of Mr. Mead. David Mead up from 22nd right now to the 14th spot. So he's obviously putting it to pretty good use here. Weber around the outside of Engelke.
And there's a classic example of a lighter car, really good on braking. And then you've got the more horsepower going up the hill, obviously not carrying his momentum through 5.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably had some effect there.
Yeah, when you're completely sideways, that tends to, what's the phrase, scrub?
Yes.
Momentum just a little bit. These guys are having a great fight there. That's for that 11th spot. Engelke, Weber, Patrick, and Mead. Mark Webber giving Engelke it's an interesting run because Engelke's looking in his mirrors and not seeing a lot. The Lotus is low, but there is the 42 of Gerald Lamb, and that is the 63 of Coleman. This is the battle for 6th right now, and it is a good one as they come whistling up the hill and across the line as we are now, by my reckoning, a couple laps. We get the confirmation from scoring next time by, they'll get the 1 to go. And right now, that is Kevin Ruck continuing to lead. His margin about 1.7 seconds over Harris at this stage. And if he wins it, like I said, not only the Runoffs medal, which he'll love, but also a super sweep.
Nice pass
63.
there.
Yeah, that was. Coleman did that to perfection on Lamb.
He just carried a lot of momentum through 1 and, really, really helped setting it up. But obviously we got a repass opportunity going into 5, it looks like.
Well, that is what makes this so fun to watch, is just the battling that could be going on here. And here we go, and that's Ruck coming through. And boy, that is that beautiful Volvo, one of the prettiest cars out there as well, the Swedish car specialist of Schönberg Volvo of Robert Keller. And he got in between. I think Ruck maybe got held up just a little bit behind him as they came through the kink, and Ruck was able to get through it for a moment. Harris got a lot of ground made up, but then he got stuck as well. And it's one of those classic scenarios where, notice in the back on is that the rear deck or the wing itself on the back of Ruck's car, Bart?
Boy, I'm not sure. Back window or something's flapping there, but.
And as I was going to say, that was a case of traffic giveth and then taketh away. And sometimes that's just how it plays out. By the way, we've been talking so much about some of this battle and then some of the other battles. Wessel, in that old Datsun Roadster, is now in a hunt for a medal. He's sitting 3rd, and he's got a bit of room back to Bramlage and the rest of those that are battling right now.
And what a great story. I mean, you just got to love to see the different manufacturers all battling up there.
And relatively new cars up against cars that are pushing 40 years old in some cases, and running absolutely some great battles in lockstep. Production is such a fun category. And it's the same story, we were talking about it in the V race. They're the guys that get into Vs, maybe leave, but they come back, or they just stay in it forever. It is going to get better.
Oh, there's a great shot of
that whole back window is blown out, hasn't it?
doesn't seem to be affecting its aero, but it might give him some extra straightaway speed, allowing that air coming in the side windows all the way through.
Yeah, it's not packing up in there. Yeah, interesting. And Harris, there he is. He sees Ruck coming up on traffic, and all he can hope is that Ruck somehow gets bottled up, but a very nice piece of driving right there by the 88 of Paul Jensen. Seeing those workers throwing those blue flags and knowing, well, this must be some of the leader group coming through, and I don't want to affect their race, and just staying out of the way.
Well, and Ruck's done a very good job in traffic. He's come up at the right opportunities and passed him and maybe held up a little bit, but he's really done a good job working his way through there.
Working through that kink for the last time, putting together a very solid run. 5th here at the runoffs here at Road America last year. Again, then had that great run at the sprints to 2nd. But in his division, did what he needed to do, won that national points title, won one of the key races. There's one in each of the 9 divisions, and he picked one of those up to make him super sweep eligible. And now he just has to get through one more corner, although Harris is turning it up a little bit, has taken quite a bit back, but I don't think it's going to be enough, especially with that torque we've been talking about that Ruck has coming out of the turns. He is climbing the hill. The double checkers are in hand with our starter, and he has done it. Kevin Ruck is going to bring it home, crosses the line under the checkers, wins Runoffs Gold, and becomes, I believe, only our 3rd super sweep winner. Ruck, 2nd is Rick Harris, finishing where he qualified, and again, a 2nd for him. It's an amazing story to go along with the gold he won at Heartland Park, Topeka in 2008. And in 3rd, gives you an idea of the margin that these two had. And we've had a couple other guys. That's 51 of Kennard, also the 62 parked over there of Smith. And here comes Wessel, just crossing underneath the stripe in that beautiful old Datsun Roadster. There he is. So look at him pumped. He is happy. That is a bronze medal, but well earned.
And great drive. Consistent all the way through there, and it paid off.
And here we go. Some more great battling that is working its way around the track here. These guys at it absolutely tooth and nail again, not necessarily in medal contention, but going for it nonetheless. That's the 37 of Henry and the 40. Well, it was the 42 of Lamb. That's Bramlage now. So this is going to be interesting. This is a battle for 4th, 5th, 6th in that range. That's Lamb. He's smoking. That's what happened to Lamb. So here comes the 37 of Henry, who on this last lap got around Bramlage, and he will pick up that spot and absolutely, or got around Coleman, excuse me, as Bramlage did come through in 4th. Henry, then Coleman, and then Lamb with him smoke coming out of the back of that number 42 Team Clean Fab and Power Coating MGB. So what a interesting race. Obviously for Steve Sargis, looked like he had it pretty well covered, and then had whatever mechanical he had, and then Ruck and Harris and Eric Prill putting on a great show. Prill actually closing on Ruck, and then just a little bit, maybe as we say it sometimes, maybe got a little too greedy on the throttle coming out of 12, and it snapped around on him. So interesting race to be sure, but a well-earned win by Kevin Ruck.
The 2010 SCCA National Championship Runoffs, presented by Subway, is brought to you by Mazda, Black Magic Car Care Products, and Gumout.
Forget the rock. Let's roll. Follow your inner driver to the all-new 2011 Mazda 2. It's Zoom Zoom. Concentrated.
Kid, where you been?
Just got back from an SCCA event.
Really?
Yeah, SCCA has more than 2,000 events every year.
Serious?
Go to SCCA.com and find people in your area that drive fast and get their hands dirty. And you don't have to be a supercar to compete.
So I go to SCCA.com, sign up, and I can start competing?
It's that easy.
Ruck, Harris, and Wessel. Gold, silver, and bronze. And they are heading toward the Mobil 1 winners interview area.
Yeah.
There he is. There's a good look at Kevin Ruck.
I was just going to say that you look a little relaxed for a guy who just won a super sweep and a gold medal. Congratulations, Kevin. What a great drive.
It's hard to believe right now. But Eric and Rick behind me gave me all I could handle all race long. But this car's just running really good. It responds well to cool air. So luckily I didn't do much for mistakes during that race, and I don't know what to say. I'm shocked.
Okay, he's shocked. He's overwhelmed. He's not calm. So listen, it looked like you had a torque or a horsepower advantage going up some of those hills and so forth. The car really came out of the corner strong.
It really it's geared well, and it's one of the bigger motors in the class by carry the most weight. And so luckily we with the cool air, I was able to keep the brakes and the tires underneath the car, which helped me out a lot. And then it also makes everybody's motors work a little bit better. But yeah, it seemed like as long as I got a good drive out of the corner, even with them in the draft, I could at least stay close. But there were a couple of times there I bogged a little bit in the corner, and they had a couple of real good looks I had to fight off. So.
Pearl was closing on you when he dropped it off.
Yeah, unfortunately I saw that coming out of Canada Corner. They were both really killing me down in through Canada Corner and up here through 1 and 3. But from about 5 all the way back through down to Canada Corner, the car got through those areas real well. So had a good fight on us.
Congratulations on the super sweep and another gold medal. Fantastic drive. Well, he certainly said it right. Gearing is very important, especially, when going up a hill. If you're just right at the maximum RPM, getting all the torque and the power to the ground that you need, that's absolutely paramount. Excuse me, buddy. Guys, Rick, my gosh, what a busy man you were. You had the best seat in the house.
That was good. That was an excellent race. I don't think I could have gone any faster. That was it.
No, you could not have gone any faster and stayed on the track. We saw that.
Yeah, a couple times I got a little off track, but it's all's good. I think I may have scraped something underneath the car, but all's good. That was a great race.
You and Eric were just wheel to wheel, driving like gentlemen to the max.
Yes. Eric and I are good friends, so we helped each other a little bit, and then when it came time to pass, then we would pass each other. So Eric's a great guy to race with.
I'll tell you, if the race would have gone another few laps, and if you and Eric could have worked together you were both closing on the leader.
Yes, we were. I missed a couple of downshifts going into 5, and overshot my apex 2 times in a row. And Kevin gapped me a little bit after that. So, but all is good. You can't expect everything to work in every corner. So,
congratulations on a great silver medal.
Right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, a gentleman who was there at the right place at the right time. We don't want to say he inherited third because you have to be at the end to finish to get it, Mike. But you were in the right place at the right time, buddy. Nice, solid drive.
Thank you very much. This is a dream. My good friend and neighbor said you're going to get third, and sure enough, Kunder, you were right, man. This is incredible. Such a gift. Brian Lynn was catching me down the back straight, and then his unfortunate blew up. I could see him coming, but then I was all on my own, and all I had to do was drive, and it was just. That's all I had to do. It was just tremendous.
What's it like to take a classic beauty like this to a wonderful third place podium finish?
Well, I've had one similar third in 2004 at Ohio, where I actually spun myself out of second, but clawed back to third. This car is Colonel Joe Hauser's, a 4-time national champion, 3-time in the Datsun Roadster. I've yet to be a champion, but I've got 2/3 now, and I just love running this car. It's something ever since high school I've wanted a Roadster, and I started with a streetcar autocrossing, got a Midwestern Council Roadster, and then bought Colonel Joe's, like I said, in '99, and I've been running it hard ever since. And Joe, if you're out there, hey man, we gave it a good run today, didn't we?
Congratulations on a great bronze medal. Big smile, bringing this Nissan home. Eric Prill, boy, you gave it your all, and congratulations for another just heart-filled drive. I was so excited in the beginning of the race. I said to you were driving a Morgan last year. Of course, that was a Lotus, and you put us heart-wise. You were our favorite, and you still are. So we're going to see you back here next year. Okay, back to the booth, guys.
All right, John, thanks very much. And, yeah, it was an unfortunate development for Eric, but, it came while he was giving it 110%. You know, so that is a little salve for the wound, I would think, is just the simple fact that he was pushing for a gold medal and was closing on the leader at the time. And so that's when you say, you know what, you don't take second here. You go for the win, and if it happens, it happens. And as it turned out, he had that moment and ended up off the track. But a good run by Eric Prill. But, you know, the guy today, it was Kevin Ruck. You know, he obviously, Sargis looked like he had him covered, but you got to get to the end of the race. And, you know, some of that's racecraft, some of that is simple mechanics, and it just didn't work out. And Ruck was always there, fended off some huge challenges from Harrison Prill. So he earned this one to be sure.